guys, welcome to What's the Subbuteo show with myself, Oisin, and Martin O'Bradley. How are you, mate?
All's good. You know me. Never
Lazy.
have a dull day. Nothing
Lazy
to complain
Sunday.
about.
No.
Lazy Sunday. I'm one of these boys. You see that nothing to feel bad about on a weekend that we're on it. Because I don't follow none of them English clubs. I'm not a Man United super fan, for a start. Imagine being a Man United superstar. No.
Superstar or super fan?
Super fan. Imagine being a Man United super fan now.
Oh, it must be awful.
You'd feel like shite. You'd feel like shite, wouldn't you?
No, it would be even worse. Being a Rangers fan after Wednesday night there.
Not as bad as being a Man United super fan, man. Not as bad as being a Man United super fan. Getting kicked out of the FA Cup.
Well,
fucking bucket team.
To show
like that.
Disappointment in football and soccer.
I just think for all the Middlesbrough fans out there,
that disappointment in field soccer was echoed in Haverhill the other night. So it was. Check out this photo.
Talk about heartbreak.
Yeah. That's photo. That's a beautiful photo of the day.
We've all been there, haven't we?
Yeah, most weeks.
You've been there. You've been there most weeks.
I think the last club night we had, I was banging my head off the table at one stage.
Is that when I
don't know. No, I think I was just fucking up, making so many mistakes. Right. Never mind. Let's go and see what Barry Sez has to say in this week's Barry Sez.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be the person who announces the Northern Ireland squad for the forthcoming World Cup. In the open category, we have Martin O'Bradley, who I think we all assumed was a vet, but no, he still squeezes into the open category. We have Lawrence Watson, and we have, as first reserve, Craig Stewart. In the vets, we have Simon Stewart, and a blast from the past, Owen Adams. At the moment, those 5 players will form the Northern Ireland team for the team event the following day. However, there is an opportunity to send a team into the open category and a team into the vets category as well. So we're still looking for players, opportunities for a couple of vets and an opportunity for another person to join the open team if required. Okay, guys, good luck. Cheers.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you very much. I liked this wee goal kick thing last week as well. It's very good.
That was good.
There's not much to talk about in fantasy football, so let's go over and just see what's happening at fantasy football. There's one match or something this weekend played there. It was Burnley and Watford 0-0 draw. So if you had any of them, good luck to you. There'd be
I seen Man United playing on Friday night.
That was the FA Cup.
I seen Man United on the TV on Friday night.
Well, that was it. That was the FA Cup. So back to league action on Tuesday. So by the time this is out, the league will be ongoing. Oisin's already told you his picks for this week coming. So last week. So we'll skip Oisin this week.
Does the FA Cup not count for nothing?
Nah, nothing.
Does nobody care about the FA Cup?
No. Well, Oisin, hold on. Oisin is on this week, but he's going to be talking about this weekend. So this weekend, I'm going to Old Trafford. I'm going to see Man United and Southampton.
I tell you, I'm going to be front row seat in front of the TV to watch it. Who? Southampton?
12:30 on Saturday afternoon.
Bucket side?
Yeah. No.
Man United always go down the bucket side. Unless they're Middlesbrough are fucking pretty good.
Right, never mind. Here's Oisin.
Sex bomb, you're my sex bomb. You can give it to me when I need to come along.
Well, a hard to falter G Moray, August Hay and Shartinya. Well, folks, you're very welcome to my Who's Hot and Who's Not for this week. Hopefully, listening to me last week and what I said about Dele Alli, he was pure shocking McLaughlin, as we say, against Newcastle. The Who's Hot this week, I'd go for defender Kieran Tripper for Newcastle, who signed recently from Atletico Madrid and, of course, scored a screamer against my granddad's old team, Everton. Who's not? Well, look, if you have Harry Maguire still on your team, at this stage, and really, as I say, you need your head felt. And hopefully Watsy and his daughter won't have to put up with watching him this weekend. So, a Harja, Chief Mishiv, and Chuck Shahogin, more Arif Gullier. Good luck, folks. See you all next week. Slan, August.
Sex bomb, you're my sex bomb. You can give it to me when I need to come.
Oisin, very much, as always, looking hot. Were you down at Oisin's at the weekend there?
Down Oisin's yesterday. Fantastic. Good setup.
You froze. Oh, you're back.
El Stadio de Q&Q.
Very nice. How'd the results go? Is the results in this week's results?
No.
Nah? Did you beat them?
Like 5-0. 4-0. And then, I don't know.
You don't give that wee lad a break.
Pretty good.
Here, we touched on it last week. We're going transatlantic. You want to introduce our superstar guest?
Ladies and gentlemen, no introduction needed. All over the world, everybody knows him. American superstar, legend of the game, the one and only Mr. Gregg Deinhart.
Welcome, Greg. How's things with you?
Great. How you doing?
Hey, it's great. It's great to get you on the show finally.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You have Zach Walker on before me. That's not good. That's just no good.
Well, Zach's the super agent.
Fault, Greg?
Zach's the super agent now, so he is. He's the chief booker.
Yeah.
How's Sunday? Are you in Washington?
What's that?
Are you in Washington?
I'm just outside. I'm in Virginia and just across the river from DC. So I'm about 10 miles from the White House where I sit now. But it's the state of Virginia. Yeah.
Very nice. I was in Virginia once.
He's been fucking everywhere. You've been fucking everywhere.
You didn't ring me up or anything.
I crossed that big bridge. Is it Chesapeake Bay?
Oh yeah.
That's some bridge. It goes underwater and everything.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, it's cool.
Unreal.
Why is it called Washington DC? What's the DC stand for?
So District of Columbia. So that's kind of like our national seat. And then it borrowed some land from Maryland, and they borrowed some land from Virginia, and they squished it together. So it's really small. It's where all the big buildings are, the White House and all that. So
very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
What about the Subbuteo? When was the last time you were playing Subbuteo?
Oh my gosh! Right before COVID actually was probably the last. I played up with Paul Oisin, Maryland, and that crew, and Dan Cranston, and those guys. But I've taken some time off. The only thing I've been doing Subbuteo wise lately is with my son. I bought a 3D printer, and we've been doing bases. So we've been designing some it's hard to see it, but we've been designing some bases. Yeah. But I still have my table, up in my bedroom. It's still there. So when I go by every once in a while, I take some flicks. But I hope to get back into it a little bit. I'd like to still be able to do like one tournament a year and all that. So, yeah.
You're ruling yourself out of the World Cup then this year?
Yeah, for this year for sure. I always, there's Scott Aldridge, the Canadian, used to always say, he used to call it one more kick at the can. I still at some point would like to have one more kick at the can. The last time I went was in Belgium, and it was a good group of guys, and it was kind of fun to do that. It's always fun to go there. The problem is you can get isolated over here, and it makes it difficult to get good, and you really have to work. The work is much harder than it used to be when I was playing. I think I used to play I tried to play over 365 matches a year. That was my goal every year, was to play 400 matches a year or 500 matches a year. And when you play one match every 2 years, the appeal of going to Europe and getting your butt handed to you over and over again is not much fun. I would actually like to go and just kind of be go see some of my old friends over there. So, but someday maybe.
And how many World Cups did you play in with the States?
So I did 3. So 1998, I kind of just went in Belgium, was there, and then 2000 was in Birmingham in England, and then 2002 was no, that's backwards. 2000 was Vienna, and then 2002 was Birmingham. So I went to those 3. It was great. But
how did you perform?
I did all right. I mean, the first year, when I went to Belgium, it was before it was really before. I know I'm sounding super old, but it was really before internet and all that, and we didn't really know. It was a big black hole. Like, we didn't really know what was going to be there. So I went over there and got throttled. There's flicking techniques we never saw and all that. So the first year I lost all my matches, and the second one in Vienna, I think I won one of my matches and I was able to get out of my group. That's when I was playing the most. But I really didn't have a lot of success over there. So, as you can imagine. Now it's a little bit easier, because we've had guys that have spent some time over there, videos available. So if you can't see it, it's hard to really match the skill. It's not an intensity or dexterity thing. I really think that if some of the players like Zach and Dan Cranston, Rick Wilcox, I think if any of those guys would have grown up over there and just, dug in, and they lived in Belgium, let's say, for example, I think they would have been every bit as good as the top players. There's an intensity thing that they have that I've seen in really good players all around the world. But if you don't have the experience and the skills and all that, it's really hard you can't compete,
It is a tough game to play. And I mean, we are going to go in September and we're going to get our asses handed to us. We know that, but it's the experience to say you went to a World Cup, you played for your country, you played the best players in the world, or maybe you played the best player in the world. Trying to keep it down below 10-0 each match is probably an achievement.
Yeah, it's just, and it's good to, and what happens is when you go, you come back. What we did in the beginning is when I went over there, I came back. We didn't even have professional bases. I went over there with basically with Hasbro's solid bases, and when I went over there, I bought professional bases, but you can't. I had to bring him back. I just bought a bunch of sets from Marco DeAngelis, the Profi base guy.
Yeah.
Came back, and I was like, I didn't even know what I had, so I had to do these tests. I'm like, well, this one's good, this one's not good for me. And then I had to bring all that back, and then I had to sort of say to my club mates, well, this is how it goes over there, and now we have to try to go get bases. And then it's like, okay, now you got bases, but then you're still. And then I said, oh, by the way, they scored every time on me. I think I lost one match 7-0. I lost one like 2-0 or whatever. But so now I think it's a little bit easier because you can watch all the video, and then we've been over there a few times, so you can sort of see what it's like. But you'll enjoy it, and you'll come back a better player for sure. You'll meet some old friends, and the guys you've been talking to. Zach sent me the list today. It's fantastic. Some of the guys you got on there. But you'll meet some new guys. When I got off the train, I flew to London and then flew to Belgium and then took the train down. And Vincent was the guy that met me at the train station. He's become a lifelong friend. Yeah, great guy. And then about 5 minutes into the hall, Phil Redmond. Have you had Phil on yet? Phil Redmond?
Not yet, no.
He's great. So 5 minutes into the hall, Phil Redmond comes up to me and introduces himself. And at the end of that next week, I went up to visit him in Liverpool. We've been friends ever since. So it's pretty amazing how tight the community is, and just how open all the guys were to meet me for the first time. First American to go over to play in Europe since 1982, I think. And I was just kind of like this weird. I was like this weird circus sideshow guy. And all these people would come up to me and they're like, I have all these pictures on my camera of people that I don't even know who they are, but everyone wanted to come up and have a photograph because I was like a weird, like a circus geek kind of guy. Oh, it's an American who's trying to play this game. He's over here, take his picture. And there's all these pictures of me I have standing under the flag, the American flag behind my back with just absolute stranger. There's a Spanish guy. There's an Italian guy. There's a Greek guy. And some of them became friends, as I said, but a lot of them was just like, man, how you doing?
Exotic Yank coming over here.
Yeah.
You didn't come over with a big Hawaiian shirt no on?
No, I came with one of those big Texas cowboy hats, I tried to stay as low key as possible because I just was kind of trying to blend in, and it didn't work out very well because you could kind of hear people saying, "Oh, there's that guy," go talk to that guy. But it was good. It was good, and one of my memories, and I wish I knew who the guys were. If you could find that out. So on one of the days after the tournament, I went to a pub with 8 Irish players, 4 Northern Ireland guys, and and they were all having a pint together, and I sat with them, and we had this like amazing conversation about life and politics, and what do the Americans think about Ireland, and the relationships between Ireland and England, and all the expat Irish people that have they're all. I mean, I grew up in a town, Buffalo, which is my brother lives in an Irish neighborhood. My niece, is a half Lebanese, half German like me, and she dances in the Irish dancing thing and all that. So there's this weird kind of American Irish culture, but it was great to meet the Irish guys too. We didn't keep in touch because it was just a quick meet in the pub, and we had a couple pints together. It was fantastic, though. Really good stuff.
I think Kenny was at that one, wasn't he?
I think Kenny was at that. I think I've seen a photo of you and Kenny Beggs before, or maybe I imagined that.
Is he? He's in your club, no, Kenny?
Yeah.
I sort of remember. Ask him next time you see it if he remembers it, sitting in the pub with me, because it was really kind of a chance. They kind of stuck together a little bit, and I was talking with the British guys, and David Pawsey was there. I think Darren was there. Darren Clark, and Darren came here in 1994 at the World Cup in Chicago, where it wasn't the Fistiff one. It was the Waddingtons one, and I met Darren there, and he was much. He's holding up better than I saw you your meet with him. He's holding up way better than I am. But Darren was there in Chicago. But ask him if he remembers that meetup in the pub. It was really good.
Kenny watches the show every week.
I can.
He doesn't.
Kenny, send answers in a postcard, Kenny.
He doesn't do social media. He'll send an email to Martin or me or after when he watches, and he'll probably tell us. So we'll let you know once he lets us know who was there.
Yeah, and give him my details. Because
I think Barry Spence may have been at that one as well.
Yeah, it was a good crew.
Barry.
You made him met Barry Spence.
Yeah,
and Kenny. At the minute, you know yourself. You've mentioned it, like the community's thriving at the minute. What Paul Eyes is doing over there is fantastic, isn't it?
I'm in touch with Paul all the time. Paul came to my house when we were doing our club thing. We called ourselves Washington Tuesday Subbuteo League, not club, way back in the day. And Paul came had young kids at the time, and he's like, well, yeah, I used to play back in England. I'm trying to get back into it, and I'm like, I'll just knock it around with him. And he scored like 3 goals against me, and it was like great. And then I lost touch with Paul for a long time. And then when he came back, he was a middle school teacher, and he started this fantastic club. And again, if you haven't had Paul Eyes on there, you got to get him on, because he's got a great story. He's great. So Paul started his club, the Maryland Subbuteo Club, and then they became a pretty big club. And Dan Cranston and Patrick Sheridan and those guys came directly out of there. And Paul himself is a fine player and a great guy, and he was our sort of supply link forever and ever here. Like, he would buy all the gear from Europe, and he would resell it over here. Did a lot of videos, did everything. Used to host a big tournament every year around Christmas time. Still does Holiday Silver. It's one of our old traditions. Yeah. I was at the second Holiday Silver way before Paul. But that going to probably go away, and then Paul took it over, and it's been great. So we can't say enough about Paul. I was talking to him yesterday, as a matter of fact, about the bases and things like that. So looking forward to seeing him next. But COVID's kind of pulled me apart a little bit from seeing some of the best guys, and I look forward to seeing him again for sure.
How did you get on the Subbuteo over there?
Good question. So in 1980, I hate to say how old I am, but in 1980, one of the guys that I played soccer with in a club said there's this game, right? So my mom and another couple of moms got together, and they bought a couple kits from someplace in New York, Long Island or something, that was the one rep that was selling Subbuteo in America. And so there was about a half dozen of us that got the tables, and we really didn't know what to do. I mean, I set up my first pitch on my parents' pool table, and we literally alternated flicks. So, I would flick, and the defensive player would get a chance to flick, and so on and so forth. We didn't know about resetting after goal kicks and all that. It was a big mess, so that was 1980. And then I played a lot with my brother and my cousin, a couple of my mates from the town. And then in in '94, I was living in Washington and I needed more supplies because I was running out of, like, there was no more Subbuteo balls. And I happened upon Rick Wilcox, who was working for Waddington's, which Waddington's rep over here called Global Sports Marketing. He can tell you more about that when you get him on, but he's the guy that was doing the box that is right behind your shoulder there. And he said, well, you got to come out, you got to come out and play. And I'm like, I don't really play this game. I just wanted to have some stuff. So I met him there, and that's when I got introduced in '94 to the kind of the beginning of the American Subbuteo Association. And then literally a month and a half later, I got in a van and drove from Virginia to Chicago with Rick and a couple other guys, and we were kind of the host group for the Subbuteo World Cup, which was unbelievable. So Trevor Spencer was there from Waddington's, and we became really, anytime we needed anything, we just mailed Trevor, and he would send us a box of stuff there. Paul Lloyd is a British guy, a collector, was there. There's also some other kind of interesting personalities that were there. Willie Hoffman was there trying to push Fistif, and he had that game in a box that he had, and we had this meeting in one of the hotel rooms, and they were talking about how Fistif was going to come along and break off the Waddingtons. It was just fantastic to be there. Carl Young was there, I think, from Wales. And I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. Vasco was there from Portugal. Oh. Yeah. He was like 5 years old, I think, Vasco, at that. He was like this little guy. I saw him all these years later at one of the World Cups, and I'm like, Vasco, you're on up. Laurent Garnier was there, I think, from in his crew from France. And so it was right at the time when Fistif was kind of splitting with Waddington. So I was basically isolated from Subbuteo, and then about a month after I came back, I was kind of, looking back, I was kind of thrown right into all this kind of weird stuff that was happening with the game. So I was pretty lucky, actually, and Rick turned out to be a really, really excellent player and a great mentor, and we literally probably played 1,000 matches against each other and kind of helped each other get better. So,
man, you have a rich history in Subbuteo. I mean, it goes deeper than what anybody else would know. That just being there when all them foundations and things were being set up is fantastic. You can make a movie out of it.
Yeah. Oh, those Subbuteo movies are selling so well now. But it was an interesting thing, because when we started our association, we were trying to just do kind of what Peter Adolph had envisioned. It's like, you start your little club in your place, you start yours in Cork, you start yours in Washington, and we can somehow link, we can put the scores up in the same space, and so we did a lot of stuff, and when I remember going to Europe, and they would say to the Belgian guy, do you see Wayne Smith, and guy who plays in California, and I said, well, no, I see him like once every 2 years, because he lives like from Madrid to Moscow from where I live. So Belgium is the size, for example, Belgium's the size of Maryland, where Paul Eyes lives. And so for me to get to Maryland, Paul's fairly close. It's about an hour drive for me. But for me to go to Texas or Chicago, or, it's just so big. So we were trying to, develop this local idea that we could get a bunch of clubs together. And unfortunately, until now, or until not now, but like before the internet, it was really isolated. It was really hard. We do a monthly newsletter from the association, and we get like, this is the tournament that happened here and all that stuff. So.
Did you keep any of them newsletters, or are they all?
Zach Walker, I'm going to get you. I gave them all to Zach Walker, who is going to scan them and file them and put them. But we have them somewhere, and I have in my attic here a bunch of old collectible. I think over I've got just some of the stuff over my shoulder here, but up in my attic I've got 6 crates of old of really vintage Subbuteo stuff. Stadium, I've got a Subbuteo. Rugby, and I even got the hockey and angling and all that, and I've just got a whole pile of stuff upstairs that I bring down once every couple of years, and my kids are like, oh geez, there's dad's going in the attic again.
I find it interesting that you are living in, like, say, in Washington, and you're waiting on stuff to come from New York. The Subbuteo set's coming down, and it must have been class when you were a kid to see that coming. For us, it was easy. We used to get a a bus into town and we'd come home with Subbuteo. It was that easy.
Yeah.
But it must have been great waiting on it.
Yeah, and I still remember it. I still have the poster. So the game, my original game set would be 1980. So it's not cardboard figures. It's plastic figures. We call lightweights, right? But it came with this poster of all the teams, and it was hung it up in the wall in the basement next to where we played. And you just thought, oh man, I'd love to have that one. I'd love to have that one. And yeah, like you said, I mean, we would order and then you just wait, and then all of a sudden they would come in the mail. Like, I got it. And that's my team. So that, I think it was part of that. I mean, the aesthetics of Subbuteo for me as a little kid, a teenager anyway, I just loved everything about it. I mean, you lay the pitch out and it looks cool. The little, there's all these teams and the floodlights and all this stuff that you can get. And I was always a huge soccer fan since I was, could walk pretty much. And but there's something about it was super appealing. And then when we got super competitive with it, what I found is that you could still have the super competitive thing, and most of the people, 98% of the people would still go out for a pint afterwards, which is great. But there still is this thing like, what kind of bases are you going to bring? And if I, was able to win the national championship, I put a star on the top of my base, with stickers and all that. And it was still a little bit of that. And so you could go into this kind of fantasy world and be the manager, and you could be 10 years old again and have that kind of really nice experience of what it was like when you opened the first box on Christmas Day. And it was Christmas Day, and I still remember kneeling on one of the corner flags. We laid it out on the floor. My brother and I played. So it's always still had that appeal, which is why I have crates and crates of that stuff up in my attic.
You must have some amount of bases with stars on them then. How many times did you win the national championship?
I won 7 times in the open category, and then 3 times as an old person in the veterans. And then one time our team from Washington, our Virginia team, won the first one, I think, of the team. So it was fun, and I was able to, the first one I won was against John Schultz, who is really a pioneer in American Subbuteo, and he had taken some time off, so I caught him a little bit cold. And the last one was with Zach Walker, who he was still very young and was not good yet. So it was kind of neat. And in between, I played my good best buddy Rick a bunch of times, and I think he was the great player of my generation. So it was kind of fun to go through those, And I used to be able to beat Dan Cranston when he was a little kid too, but not anymore.
Them days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone for a lot of my opponents.
That's why you don't want to play anymore. You don't want all them boys beating you.
What's great is I really am. I'm really proud of. I used to say to somebody, someone asked me like a long time ago, like, how does American Subbuteo? How are you going to know when we get better? And I said it's when I can play a match against somebody and I can lose 4-0. And then I think it was like a year later or something, Zach came out for the Holiday Silver and I made it to the final, and he just absolutely destroyed me. And someone said afterwards, "Wow, you just got it handed to you." And I'm like, yeah, "That's good. That's progress." Because he, it's the next guy takes it to the next level, and that's exactly what Zach did. And Paul was able to push some of our other guys to, Dan and Patrick and himself actually, and so that's how it goes. So I don't mind losing. I'm glad that if I don't play for a whole year and I would go and win a tournament still, that doesn't say much for the other guys, So.
Oh, I know.
There's plenty of videos of you on YouTube playing Subbuteo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're still pretty hot, man.
Yeah. Let's say that again.
I'm saying there's plenty of videos of you on YouTube playing.
Yeah.
Plenty of videos with Paul and all them boys, and call your man Andrew Zanino. Is he round near you?
By American standards, yes. He lives in. Andrew lives in sort of Delaware, Pennsylvania area, like right over there. So from us, it's drivable in a day, but it's still a little bit far. Yeah.
What about your Washington club? Is that packed up now? Does it not exist anymore?
Well, there's a guy, Brian Arnold, who lives in Alexandria. It's ironic because he lives right down the road from where I used to work when the first Washington Tuesday was started, like in 1994, right at the same time. So Rick started Washington Tuesday along with this other guy, Matt Winterstein, and myself. And then we went through a bunch of iterations. At times we had a dozen players, then down to 5, and then back up again, and so on. And so when Brian moved into the area and started playing, he started his own league. So I said, come on, let's rebrand and join us. So technically we're still a going concern. We just got team shirts, not available in the shops yet, but we just got team shirts and all that. But we haven't played as a group in a really long time, but maybe when we get back at it, with Brian, who's very active now and is becoming a very, very good player, we can maybe go do something and go back in the like the old times. Yeah,
I think Brian's a good guy. I seen Brian whenever he went to the World Cup.
Yeah,
I think it was a case of who can go, and Brian was like, "Fucking, I'll go," and he went, and it wasn't that great. And then I seen Brian in Glasgow, and I thought, "This boy's not that great," and he was good. He was fucking good, man. That was only like that was only like 2 years later, I think.
Yeah.
Then you see him playing on the YouTubes, all you boys. He's gotten pretty good.
Yeah,
a semi-final, didn't he, recently in the Holiday Silver, or the final of the or something?
I think you're right.
Yeah,
he's
Brian.
Nice fella. Brian's nice fella.
Oh, he's the best. He's the best guy. And when Brian first came, he's like anyone else. When he first came, he was sort of like, well, I'm really keen on playing, and we'll show you this. And it's like, okay, he's new. But then each time you would see him, it would get a little better, and he really threw himself into it. It's like anything else. I mean, Lawrence, I see the guitar over your shoulder there. I mean, if the guitar over your shoulder stays on the wall, you're not a guitar player. But if you get out and do your thing right, then you become a guitar player. So
that Greg is a decorative piece.
I'm not going to be writing any songs anytime soon, but
that's when the ladies come round. That's when the ladies come round, and Lawrence is like, oh, I'm too tired at the minute.
Yeah,
I've hurt my wrist, but next time.
The right temperature.
Yeah. So Brian put in the work, and he's a level-headed guy, and he doesn't get easily frustrated. When he was learning, he'd ask a lot of questions, and when he would lose a match, he was like, just even kill guy, and then the next time he'd come back a little bit stronger, and he tried to do things the right way, so he wanted the best technique rather than just trying to get the figures moving. He wanted the best technique. He wanted strategy. He wanted to learn the right strategies, and it paid off. Plus, he's a super great guy. He's lovely. Yeah, super good to be around, and he's always hosted tournaments over there, and his wife's awesome, and they're just great people, and so you always want to root for a guy like that. He's So yeah, and now I don't know what the score would be if how much he'd beat me by if we played tomorrow. So maybe I better get to practicing again and see what happens.
Greg, you gotta get back playing, man. You gotta get back into the scene, and I'm sure everybody wants you back and misses you not playing.
Oh, I'd love to do it in my own way, and get back out. I just watched the one of yours with Darren, and he looks like such a respectable grown up now. And I'm like, look at Darren, so yeah, so that's a guy I remember from way back too. So I think there's a way to do it. I just have to, my kids play a little bit. Like I said, I still have my table up here. My father used to make goals, the metal goals in the old days. So I still have a set of my dad's goals, and I still buy bases every couple of years, and we're going to make some now in the next year or so, probably not to sell necessarily, but just to try to, so it'll keep me involved. I'd love to come to Ireland to play. I heard Cork. Cork is where it's at. Is it? You familiar with that part of Ireland?
Cork is not where
opposite end of us.
Oh, you're opposite
end of us.
Yeah.
We're Cork's at the bottom. We're at the very top. Straight line up the middle, man.
All right. Well, come visit you then.
We've an IO this summer. Come to it.
Oh, it'd be so good if we could travel. I just haven't traveled. It's weird to even think about going on a plane on that. So one of these days,
Zach and Packy are coming. Come with them.
Look out for those two. They're pretty good players. Those two.
Patrick was over here. Patrick was here in the shed.
No, was he?
Aye.
A couple of months ago.
When was that?
Just before Christmas.
Did you play some matches or no?
Oh, we played on here.
He got his ass kicked.
4-1. Hit me 4-1. We drew 1-1 the first game, and he's fresh off being the national champion. So excuse me, Watson. That wasn't too bad.
Well played. Yeah, if I could do a 1-1 against Patrick, I would. I'd take that result for sure. I taught him everything he knows. Yeah.
Here, you're talking about bases. We're going to show a little what's in your box. So here.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Hey, this is Gregg Deinhart, and I want to show you what's in my Subbuteo box. But first, I want to show you my Subbuteo box. This is the old one that I used to take to all the tournaments that I used to go to. Got some cool stickers on there from the places I've been. And this is my new box, which is actually a very old metal box, but it's the one that I keep my stuff in now. Again, it's got all the stickers on there of places I've gone and different clubs that I've got to play with. And then on the inside, if we open it up here, you'll see pictures of my two kids up there, Nicholas and Braden, and my timer, and my nameplate from the World Cup in Belgium. And then a pretty cool photograph of the inside of the Liverpool locker room with a cool expression written there on the board that I use when I go to tournaments. And then looking from the top down, you'll see I have this very attractive Subbuteo bag, which I keep my polish in. I don't think that's available in stores at the moment. I've got a goalkeeper, a couple of polishing cloths, including a Washington Tuesday Subbuteo League polishing cloth. As far as bases go in there, the only ones I have in there at the moment are these prototypes that my son Braden is helping me make, 3D printed, along with Paul Eyes, and hopefully one day you'll get to play with some of those. And that's Gregg Deinhart, and that's my box. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg.
My pleasure.
See the bases you're making. What base are you trying to replicate? I mean, are you trying to make an Extreme Works base, or are you just trying to make something that suits you?
Well, as you know, when you buy bases off of someone else, you're always trying to find the balance between different elements. And I've always felt when I was playing well in the old days, I had very, very heavy Profi bases, but you could do a lot with them. You could chip the ball and make it drop down. You could, you could swerve around players. But then as the bases got lower and flatter, those bases became obsolete. There's all these tiny touch-ups. So my frustration with the bases of the last 10 years or so has been there's some things of the old base style that I wish I could still do, such as swerving around players and just having a little more flexibility around the shooting area. I mean, really good players can still do it, but I thought it would be fun to try that. My son Braden got involved with 3D printing at his school and ended up getting a 3D printer here at the house. And I said, well, we got to at least try. So we're really in the prototype stage now. And I'm just trying to get a balance of trying to kind of get a base that will do a little bit of everything. Good shooting from distance, but also better in some tight situations to be able to swerve a little bit, to be able to chip from close distances. And it's tough because when you take away one element of a base, you have to take some stuff away to kind of get something else, another benefit. So
yeah.
Prototype stage, literally just these are our second batch that have just come out. So we'll see.
Are they a solid base, or are they like 3 parts or 2 parts, or?
We'd like to do 2. We'd like to do a solid base style, just kind of a beginner's base that anyone can get, and then a 2-part base at some point, which you can put the weights in. So trying to figure that out. But part of the problem with the 2-part base is you have to get it to seal really nice and snug. Otherwise, you lose a lot of the elements of the bases. And so we're trying to figure out ways to keep it snug, but be able to keep taking the top off in case you want to change your weights and stuff like that. So he's the design guy. He can tell me what he can print, and then I just sort of say, well, make that a little bit taller and make this a little bit more curved and all that. So it's kind of fun. It keeps Subbuteo stuff around the house and kind of keeps me interested. So
it'd be fascinating.
Keeps it alive.
I would love to try it. Like I think just that what you're saying, and like make one and then try it and then go, no, I want to take that edge down a bit, or I want to make them more rounded on the corner, or flatter in the corner.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you can do that and then go and flick it and play with it and then come back and say, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's a lot more people doing it now. 3D printing's becoming really big.
Yeah. I think it's going to get I think that's going to be the way, in the future. And for us, it wasn't. He didn't get the 3D printer because of bases, but it's an investment for sure. But he's doing other stuff with it, so be interesting to see how it comes around. So
brilliant. Here, final question before we let you go.
Yeah.
You're in a neutral position. You're Switzerland.
Okay.
Pick your 4 American players to go to Rome. What's your best 4?
Oh.
Without, don't worry about offending anybody. They're all thick-skinned.
Well, I think you have to. I think you have to start with Dan Cranston and Patrick Sheridan and Zach Walker, and if Christian's available, Filipello, then there's your 4 right there.
Yeah.
But then right after that, that's sort of that. That's my 4. But there's a lot of other guys that could be right on it.
But do those 4 not all fall into the same age category? Do you not need 2 veterans for a team for the Saturday event?
Oh, veterans, yeah. I mean, veterans would be Paul Eyes would be probably. I would put Paul Eyes up there for the veterans for sure. Yeah.
Peter Alleghi.
Oh, Peter, of course. Yeah, sorry, Peter. I just got a text.
I can't believe you forgot.
I just got a text from Peter. Sorry. You said they're all thick-skinned, right? So sorry, Peter. Yeah, good call. I haven't seen. In fairness to Peter, I haven't played in a tournament with him in a long time, and I haven't really seen him play. But yeah, he's playing really well. So yeah.
He won the veteran national champions, didn't he? He won the veteran.
Yeah.
Beat Paul Eyes in the final.
Yeah. No, that's good. And Paul ODR also is excellent. If ODR was playing, he'd be right in there as well. So. Yeah.
Seen him playing before.
But it's weird. Like it's always who's in form is who's playing and all that. So yeah. Yeah.
I know. And then you've Brian Arnold there ready to go as well. It's
he's right on. I mean, and I haven't seen him, and he lives in the same town as me practically. But he certainly will win it at some point for sure. There's no doubt.
You've no excuse not playing a game if Brian's only down the road.
I know it's awful. It's awful, and Rick, some of the old guys that I used to play with. There's a guy Andrew Giffen who's a really, really good player in our club, and Rick Wilcox is still here, really close and playing. There's a lot of our guys in the club. I remember when our club had 8 players in it. Eric Walton was in one of our guys, and Andrew Giffen and all that. And I remember playing Rick at the end of the night and saying, "How'd you do tonight?" And he's like, "I lost all 5 of my matches," and I said, "I did too." So there were some guys in our club in the old days that were really good players as well. So yeah. A lot of guys, if they kicked their rust off, could probably do all right.
Good.
And what about you? You're up from, say, Buffalo originally. What about the Canadians? What do you think up there? There's a good batch of players up there, isn't there? Mike Scroll and stuff, Canadian?
Yeah, so the guys that I would have known from Canada would be from Scott Aldridge in that sort of generation, Brian Edmondson and Doug Harding and all those guys from the late 90s. The new group of Canadian guys I don't really know. But we had some good times with the guys in Canada. We used to do our International Open, like we'd do it on a weekend. We'd do 2 tournaments, an Open and whatever the other Invitational, and then we'd all go up to Canada and do the same thing. And some of the guys, Vincent brought a bunch of Belgians over, and Phil Redmond, came to a couple of those, and Dave Wooters, who's the Belgian guy who thinks he's Scottish. Dave, right? So yeah, and he, some of those guys would come over, and then they would do 2 tournaments with us, and then 2 up in Toronto, and those were fun days. But I don't know the new Canadian guys at all, really. I've played with any of those guys. So.
They were only born in the late 90s, so
yeah, that's right.
Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure to finally get you on the show. Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, we forgot. I always forget about this bit.
That kid always forgets goal of the week. Tried to make it a new feature on the side, but it's only because he forgets. Great.
All right, let's do it.
Have you watched the goals of the week?
I did.
If they run the intro, roll VT.
Now I've got a cousin called Kevin. Go.
Go.
Now, Greg.
Yes, sir.
In your professional opinion, goal of the week.
Goal of the week to me is the third goal, the long shot goal. Yeah, that's brilliant. It's just a good strike. It's the one that doesn't go in the corner, but if you hit it from that distance, you do a little bit of that little happy dance, right? Or as we say, you start the lawnmower. Goal number 3 there is my vote.
It was brilliant. You're quite right, Greg. And your professional opinion, it was brilliant. Good job.
All right.
Thank you, Greg.
My pleasure.
Greg, thanks a million for taking the time. I know it's early in the day for you, so appreciate it. And taking your weekend off for us.
And I got a clean shirt on, by the way.
I noticed.
Top button or whatever, yeah. No, my pleasure, guys. Thanks so much. And look forward to watching the guys after me. So.
No, brilliant.
If you're ever in town, if you're ever over this part of the world, you have an open invitation, man.
Absolutely. You know, there's been a lot of our players that have gone just different places. One of our guys was even in Singapore, Muliana. Met him at the airport. You know, our guys have gone down to Spain and just, you know, they just said, hey, who's here from Spain? There's been a lot of players from over there that have come here and met up with some of our guys. So, you know, the invitation's out for you as well. If you're ever close, you're always welcome in Virginia, DC area. We'll get some matches in. We'll show you around the town. Absolutely.
Thank you, man. We'll take you up on that, definitely.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Get flicking again.
Lovely meeting you, man. Get flicking.
I'm going to go practice right now, I think.
Brilliant. Good man.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Take care. Thank you, Greg. Fantastic. Unbelievable. Another top guest. Staying on that side of the Atlantic, here is the fantastic, dangerous Dan Cranston with his analysis. Check it out.
He's the greatest. He's fantastic. Wherever there is danger, he'll be there.
Hey Watsies, this is Daniel Cranston of the American Subbuteo Association. Today we're going over last week's match of the week, which was between Mr. Moore and Mr. Bradley. So we're going to be focusing on the offensive side this week and really focusing on kind of when you should take a step back and reevaluate the strategy choices and the good timings for that. So here we have Moore on the counterattack. Bradley's trying to slow him down. And as he gets close to the line here, Bradley makes a back. And so there's a stoppage in play. And you can see how Moore's already ready to make his flick. But because there's a stoppage, you know, they pause and eventually Bradley Moore will take the back and Bradley will move his guy back. But what you'll see is you should really take this time when you're on offense to kind of step back a little bit, reevaluate, make sure you're making the right strategic choice. And so in this case, this figure over here only has one flick. And so he has 2 flicks available that he could use in order to push the ball over the line and then shoot. And obviously that's most direct and it's by far the best play that you could make in this situation. But because he was kind of tunneled in on his previous decision of wanting to use this guy and then touching up over the ball over the line, that even with the stoppage in play, he kind of tunnels into this choice and makes an unfortunate mistake here, and so kind of ruins a really high quality chance that he had set up. And so we're going to keep playing this out a little bit because it kind of segues into the next point, which is similar in terms of when you should step back and really take a look at your strategy choice. And so here Moore sets it up and he forces a great throw-in all the way out on the other side. And this is a really good play. Throw-ins are really powerful offensive tools when these force outs, especially with the no flick rules these days. But in this case, you probably want to take flicks because you don't have anyone in the immediate area that could immediately follow up on a throw-in. And so basically a common mistake that I see, especially with a lot of beginners, is they kind of gravitate to grabbing the closest player to the ball to take the throw-in. But like 99% of the time, that is really not the case. So in Subbuteo, I mean, you have the ability to pick up any player on the field and move them. So you really want to be looking for blocked players or players in weird spots where they're not going to help out with the offense or defense. And so if we look around on the pitch here, obviously it's a little blurry, but we can tell that this figure over here, this defender, is kind of the last man back. It's keeping Martin's figure onside, and it's not contributing at all to the offense. And so really a great choice would have been taking this figure to take the throw-in all the way down here, and then moving the figure that played the ball out of bounds into position for the throw-in. And that's just a much more effective use of your flicks. And as well, you get to keep this offender up in the play as well, so for good measure. If you're a more conservative player, sometimes it's okay to maybe take the throw-in with this figure and then flick this way. But in general, I'm more offensive at least, and I love to bring more attackers into the play. So I really think Moore should have not used the figure over here to take the throw-in, and instead brought that last defender all the way up, because it's a really good chance to build up your offense. So you can obviously see how it can change things in terms of your offensive setup. So that's all for this week. Pretty short and to the point. Thanks for the clips, guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully this all helps.
Thank you, Dan. Unbelievable as always. And last week's was also everybody loved it again. Comments have been brilliant. So thank you, Dan, for doing that. And the longer the better. I don't really mind. I think he worries about time.
No, take a whole show for fuck's sake.
So that's amazing, isn't it? Last week I loved where he said about taking the defender from the far side of the pitch rather than opening that gap. I wouldn't have thought. I've never thought of that. Eh?
You wouldn't have thought of that.
No, you always try to use the player closest to the ball to defend.
Huh.
Amazing. Right. Here is some match highlights now from our guest tonight. Gregg Deinhart against Paul Oisin in the Holiday Silver 2019. Check it out.
Yep.
Be seen alone with lots of your own.
guys. Great game. Thank you, Bradley, for editing. Very, very good as always, mate.
I have nothing else to do with myself.
Just now, you're well. Before you go into the results, I have something else. We're bringing something back that haven't been done on the way. Video diary. Video diary from, was it Melbourne competition a couple of weeks ago? Benji Batten, our good friend down under. Check it out. Here is Benji Batten's video diary.
Hello, Martin Erg and Watsy. Good afternoon from Melbourne. It's a lovely sunny day here. I'm just at the airport getting ready to fly up to Sydney. We're going to Sydney this weekend to play in the Sydney Open, which is a festive IO this year. So very exciting stuff, and looking forward to filming a few videos from across the weekend to give you a bit of a tournament diary and show you how we do things down under and what the big Australian Subbuteo tournament experience looks like. So very excited for a big weekend ahead. I'm about to fly up Melbourne to Sydney. It's just over an hour on the plane, and then getting up to North Sydney for the tournament. So we'll catch you at the tournament. Alright guys, so it's now Friday night. I've arrived at the tournament venue here in North Sydney, ready for the weekend's action. And the weekend starts with a dinner, so we're going to do the draw a bit later tonight, but at the moment we've got all the players tucking into a lovely buffet dinner. There's Jeff and Enzo. So we're going to tuck into some nice dinner all together and then get going with the draw a bit later. We'll catch you in a bit. We're now here for the first day of play. All the players lined up. I'm doing the first game, playing against Adrian Grumbach of Northern Falcons, Johnny Ball refereeing. We're going to go for the first game. I'm in Group 1 with Adrian Grumbach, one of the Koutsas brothers, and Adrian Elmer. So yeah, it should be a good day out. Let's go. Alright, first game done and won. It was a 3-0 win over Adrian Grumbach. Pretty lucky to be a 3-0 win. Probably maybe 1-1 or maybe 2-1. So it was probably a fair result. I got pretty lucky. He had a lot of good chances, and I just kind of played him on the counter attack and sat back, absorbed the pressure, and scored my goals on the counter. So that's 3-0, which means luckily already through to the next round, and hopefully a win in the next game will put us top of the group. All right, game number 2 against Adrian from Western Sydney Subbuteo. We've got Jeff refereeing, hiding behind me somewhere. Let's go.
You had great squeals of joy though.
It was 3-2 was the final score. Adrian played very well, scraped through a couple of goals.
Scraped through, they were crackers.
I scraped through with the win, and it was finished 3-2. So Adrian will take on the other Adrian next to see who else goes through. So that's 2 games, 2 wins, and through to the next round. Quarterfinal now, taking on Johnny Ball of Northern Falcons. Here we go, quarterfinal time. Well, it's a relief, but luckily through to the semi-finals. Finished 5-4, which is pretty nuts in table football. I was 1-0 down and brought it back to 1-1, 2-1 down, brought it back to 2-2, and then kicked away to 5-2. I thought it was game over, but in the end came 5-3 and then 5-4. So Johnny Ball, he doesn't play too often, but came back out of retirement and still definitely has it. So onwards to the semi-finals, but very tense. Well, the journey rolls on. Just played a semi-final against Danielle Lombardi of Sydney TFC. Ended up winning it 2-1. Took an early goal. Didn't really capitalise, and by half-time was 1-1 again. Luckily, scored a goal halfway through the second half and managed to hold on. So 2-1 win. And I'm going to play Tony Credentino in the final of the Sydney Open, which is pretty cool. Been in a few finals. I don't tend to win many, so fingers crossed this is a good one for me. Well, what a day. I'm here on the train on the way back from the tournament venue back to my accommodation. I think I last checked in just before the final against Tony Creditino, and yeah, pretty nuts, but I actually won it. It was a 0-0 draw, pretty terrible game, not many chances, and just kind of tried to hang in there, and I realised probably wasn't very likely that he would score. It was pretty hard for me to score. Just kind of hung it out, went to sudden death, not many more chances, and then all the way to shootout, and luckily enough put the centre shot and then the final corner shot away with a pretty nice chip into the top right corner. So bang, huge win. Fistafayo nabbed the win in the end. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video diary so far, and I'm going to be back tomorrow with a bit of action from the teams competition. Catch you then. We're here on day 2, Jeff. We're playing as the Hip Fingers Sydney East.
Yes.
We've got Northern Falcons up first in the comp. What are we thinking?
Look, I think we've got the advantage in terms of caffeination and strategy.
In terms of caffeination strategy, we just have to do it on the pitch.
Look, I think so. I think we're already hyped up. We've got the caffeine pumping in the veins, and it's quality stuff. It's quality. So I think it's a question of quality overcoming numbers. They do have the advantage in numbers, but they can't put them all on at the same time.
No, they've got the better team on paper, but the game is played on an extreme pitch. So.
And the ball is round.
And the ball is round. Go Hip Fingers.
Latte, latte, latte. Oh my word!
Great result, huge upset.
Well, I think Subbuteo and good coffee are the winners.
Absolutely. Game 1 done. On to the next one. Pretty huge win in the second game. We beat Sydney TFC, and now we're taking on Western Sydney in the final one to try and top the round robin. So in the end, Jeff, we managed to, a bit of a shock, we won all 3 games and actually won the group round robin, which is pretty cool.
We did. 3 wins for you.
Hip Fingers hard. 3 wins for me. Dan with a couple of good draws in the last 2 matches, which kept it good, and Jeff got a couple of wins. So
possibly 3.
Possibly 3.
3. Excellent work.
Up the Hip Fingers.
Hip Fingers.
Well, I'm at Roseville train station. Just got a lift back from one of the players. I'm now going to take the train back to where I'm staying in Sydney. The end of a really good weekend. Really good to be back and flicking. We ended up finishing today with a doubles tournament, so 2-on-2, and I played with Nathan, also from Melbourne Table Football Club. There were 6 teams. We managed to actually get the win overall on that as well. So a really cool way to finish the weekend. Lots of fun, lots of games, and really just good to be back flicking and seeing everyone after a very long time. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and keep watching the show. See ya.
Thank you, Benji, and congratulations on your win. So Bradley, over to you with your results, mate. Here it is.
This week.
News?
Because no, we're in Vincent. Vincent has Vincent's time of the month, as it were.
I love this bit.
Do you want the rankings first?
Give us what are you going? How far are you going to go? Top 5?
We'll do top 10. We'll do top 10 and look for the big names, eh? Top 10. Okay, rock.
Yeah.
And at number 10 from Greece, Flame of Flicker Subbuteo Club, Alekos Apatsis, I think. And at number 9 from Australia, Brisbane Subbuteo Club, Giuseppe Tardiota. Number 8, South Africa, plays with Big G and the boys, Johannesburg Table Football Club, Clifford Graff. Number 7, another Australian, Subbuteo Perth, Mr. Alan Kimber.
Alan Kimber's playing well, you know.
He's playing well. That's why he's number 7 in the WASPA World Rankings. Number 6 and number 5, respectively, the 2 Parati brothers, Simone at number 6 and Marco at number 5, both playing with Subbuteo Club Kearney. Number 4, another Australian, fucking flying at them boys. Northern Falcons Table Football Club, Elliot Kennedy. Number third.
Letter 3.
Letter number 3 is Jeffrey Moraine from
Well
Belgium.
done, Jeffrey.
A.S. Henauer in second place in the current World Amateur Subbuteo Player Rankings, January 2022.
Can't cope.
From England. From London Road Subbuteo Club, Mr. Brian Sexy Balls Daly.
Well done, Brian.
So number 1, back on top, Wobbly Hobbly Subbuteo Club's number 1 star, the one and only Mr. Alan Lee.
Well done, Alan. Well deserved.
Well done, Alan. Well done, Alan. Well deserved.
Well done, everybody.
Well done, everybody. We're just looking at a few big names now.
Try and get everybody that
Vincent.
we kind of know.
Right.
Yeah.
Vincent, number 13, Temple Louis Subbuteo.
Kanye. Where's Kanye?
Hold on, we'll get to Kanye. But before we get anywhere near Kanye, coming in at number 22 is the one and only Dare City superstar, Mr. Barry Spence. Barry Sez.
Well done.
Well up the rankings at number 22. Kanye Matthews comes in at number 24. Elliot, the god of the beautiful fountains, rocks up at number 27. Right up is arse, also on 27 points. Dare City legend, Northern Ireland legend, the one and only Kenny the Legend Biggs.
Sir Kenny Biggs.
Big Gary G Downs, number 31.
Brilliant.
Mick Hammond's Wolverhampton superstar, number 37.
What about his win?
Lethal.
Fuck me. Beating Daly.
Knocked Daly out. Sorry, Brian. Knocked Daly out.
Well done. I'm really.
Festive President, Mr. Steve Detra, number 39. Closely followed by Martin O'Bradley at number 40.
Well done, Martin O'Bradley.
Young Lucas Whittle rocking up at number 45. The one and only English legend, star of the show, Darren Clark, number 46. Ruby, number 50. That's in the open rankings, mind you.
Well done. Number 1, obviously, in the youth.
Well, we'll get there. Rudy Peter Shinnick.
Plate Supremo.
Only Rudy. Plate Supremo. The man with the plan, number 55. Number 56 from Singapore Lions SC, Tan Kok Wee.
Well done, Tan Kok Wee.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
None. Great position to be in.
Hollywood Marvel superstar, Big JC, Jason Christopher, rocking in number 60.
Whoa, top 60.
Just up his arse is Justin Finch, ESA chairman, and at number 61. Sebastian Sorge from Temple View.
Yes.
Is number 67. Oh, I almost forgot. Just above Sebastian is Ireland's pro, Mr. Mark Farrell, number 66.
He doesn't get enough recognition in the show.
He does not. Wolves head honcho, Mr. Justin Scott, and at number 72. Tricky Nicky Pearson. Where's he sitting? Number 77.
Well done.
Registered as Wobbly Hobby Subbuteo Club. Where are we going now? We're going down a wee bit. Mr. Danny Lilly, Manchester legend, is in at number 86.
Well, can you hold that thought? Daniel Lilly had a wee get together there. Football museum, kids competition stuff all happening. Here's a couple of wee photos. Well done, Daniel.
Look good.
He reckon he had 300 to 400 visitors at the event. So getting the Subbuteo name out there. Well done, Daniel Lilly, star of the show.
Well done, Danny Lilly. Very good, very good.
Sexy shirts as well. I love them shirts.
Sexy shirts, we love them. Manchester, you should get one.
Might get one when I'm working again.
They don't come up against Middlesbrough Subbuteo Club.
Go on.
Anyway, young Joe Harrington and at number 88.
Well done, Joe.
Very good, Joe. Very good, Joe. Number 91, ladies and gentlemen, rocking up the church from his last time position is Derry City Supremo, Mr. Lawrence Watson.
I don't think I've moved.
You've moved? You were like 99 or something the last time. You just
I think it was 91.
90. Were you? Oh, you're 91 now still. Oh, well. Benji B. Young Benji, number 101. We're getting well up there now. D. Jenkins, Derry City Football Club's newest player, number 111 in the World Amateur Subbuteo Player Rankings.
Are you discussing our results here next?
Who's hot, who's not? Mr. Oisin Moore, right up D's backside on the same position, 111, 111.
20 behind me.
20 behind you. Fred Elishbow, number 138. Ken Schilling, good friend of the show, good friend of the club, number 140. We can keep going. Paul Eyes, Mr. Subbuteo himself, 148. They don't play a lot of Waspas. He's registered with TSC Black Rose 98 Roma. Pretty swish Italian club. There's fellow Redman.
Wrap him up there.
All the talk out of our Gregg.
David Save?
153.
David Save?
Not David Save. Oh, I've lost it now. Phil Redman, I'm saying.
Oh, Phil Redman. Well done, Phil.
Okay. Jerry Harrington. Haver Hill. Number
Star of last week's show.
Star of last week's show, number 166.
Darius BCA still haven't contacted me.
No. Did you show that wee clip that he's not really that bad to the animals?
Yeah, we'll show it now, sure. Check it out. I have put it on Twitter, but check it out now.
Basically, what did they twice? Or if they did stop, excuse me one moment, Poppy, excuse me, 2 seconds. The boss is
your grandma.
I'm going to say, here we go. Like killing the dog. Anyway, so Alan.
Did you just throw that dog?
They're murdering that. So anyway, Alan, you've got to dominate the city,
Now, before I get the RSPCA coming round and doing me for animal cruelty for launching my dog across the room, this is my dog, this is Poppy. And when Poppy was barking, it was Poppy's toy that was launched across the room and not Poppy. I'd just like to clear that up now, please. Cheers, that's my...
Is that you done? Right. Is that you done with the charts?
It's the church.
What have you got for me now?
You want some results?
Well, would be nice.
All right. 2nd of January at the start of the year. Don't think we covered this one. Berlin, SC nope. Berlin had a tournament. 2 groups, 10 players. Final, Nico Muller beat Marian Flamer 2-0 in the final. None of our buddies was playing. David Voeters, that's who Gregg was chatting about there now.
Aye.
Topped the table in a 7-man league in Belgium, Antwerp, SC Flanders. Very good, David. We competition in Harrow, England. Group of 5. World number 1, Alan Lee, topped the table. 2 points in front of our Rudy. Course. We did Prague, didn't we? Czech Republic.
Yeah, you done Prague last week. I was very surprised at that. I couldn't find any Subbuteo online for them. You know, on Facebook, any groups?
Can't see them, no. Here's one new on me. Morecambe Bay Subbuteo Club.
Oh,
got a competition. And just there in the middle of January. 6-man league. Some big names at it. But of course, the sexiest man in Subbuteo was here. And he tops the table. Brian Daly tops the table. 15 points. 5 ones out of 5. No stopping wee B when he gets going.
Oh, I know. And we're starved of other people having competitions here, aren't we?
Where? Here?
In this island, I mean.
Aye. Well, we have the first round of the championship, the Irish Championship, coming up soon, and Donegal.
End of February, but that will be the first time we'll play like 2 Wasps in a month.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
It's pretty
We're
shit.
We're getting robbed.
Pretty shit.
Anyway, that'll do. We'll keep the rest of the results for next week. Long show.
It was a long show. It was a good show.
It was a good show. What about that goal of the week, eh? As do you know what I mean? As 10 times American champion Gregg Deinhart points out. Brilliant.
What do you think was so good about it?
Well, like Greg, it's not up to me to point out. Gregg's a pro.
I know, but what was your profession?
I'm hardly Gregg Deinhart's professional level. Come on.
Here, you didn't speak about our results at the week last week.
Oh, I did not. Sorry. Jesus, that's an important one. Hold on a minute. There's City Table Football Club.
There was a huge result there, like happened in
first Wasp of the year. Was a huge result.
Yeah, definitely was a huge result.
What?
D Jenkins.
Oh, D Jenkins. Congratulations, D Jenkins. We'll just run on there. City Football Club had their Winter Cup just there.
Nice poster.
When was it? Last week?
Last Monday night.
7 players, league format. Top of the table was Sir Kenny the Legend Beggs, followed by myself. 2 draws. No losses, 2 draws. Barry Sez Spence called it on number 3rd. Better number 3 with 9 points. Lawrence Watson, not a bad performance on the night, 5 points. Although, performance of the night, you're quite right, goes to the one and only D Jenkins, who totally dominated in his match against Mr. Lawrence Spencer Watson and came away with a 1-0 victory, which sealed these 6 bits. Oisin came in number 5, better number 5. Good results all around.
Good results. These games get really good, really good.
These games fucking fantastic. These
Lockman's
defensive
become
game was
really
amazing. Yeah, which is what it's all about, man.
Yep.
So well done, D.
Well done, D. Well
nice
done,
play.
you. You done well. I have to say, I watched the last game of you and Kenny. It was very good. I don't think
I'm very happy with that.
Your live feed picked it up, did it?
No, live feed chat the bed when I played Barry and then played Kenny. Me and Barry was 2-2. It was a great game. Great game. But Barry was 1-1 with the legend Kenny Beggs right up until the final whistle when Kenny knocked one on.
I seen it over my shoulder. I was playing the table above and I just seen I just
heard it. Me and you were playing and we heard the shit.
I seen the goal get in and the dejected Barry slumping.
It was like your man Marco in that photo.
And the buzzer went as soon as he fucking hit the back of the net.
I know.
And he just knows how to play the game, doesn't he?
Doesn't he just? That's why he's a legend. Although if Barry had held that draw, I'd have been top of the table.
No, but sure. My granny had balls, she'd be my granddad. Right.
Jesus. Like, what a fucking turn of phrase. There's no blue in this show. That's my one stipulation. There's no blue.
No blue. Right, Mucker. Thanks for your results. They were fantastic as always. Thank you for everybody tuning in.
Vincent.
Thank Vincent for the results, the page, everything he does. Thanks Barry, Oisin, yourself, Martin Og, Greg, everybody. Thank you.
Thank God. Somebody must have pulled you. You must have got an angry letter or something.
No angry letters. I see a bit of shit going on social media. I'm not getting involved.
Don't you get involved? You're bad.
I am not getting involved.
That crowd there are a bad basket of eggs.
I ain't getting involved.
That's what I think. Very angry people.
Do you know what? Dave the Save Hunter does a lot more for Subbuteo than your man. Does a lot more. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Dave the Save goes out and plays, encourages people to play. supports the game, promotes the game. Dave the Save should have his own YouTube show.
Yeah, but he wouldn't charge you for it.
Football Weekly or something.
He wouldn't charge you for it.
Dave wouldn't charge. Dave the Save wouldn't charge. You'd save £1 if you watch Dave's show.
100%. Right, Mucker. Hanging out for a few pints. See you later.